What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks and Hoop. Hoop is back with us today, and I know you haven't been able to come on the shows, but hopefully you've caught some of these winners that Tyler and I have been giving out.
Oh yeah, I always make sure I check out the bets page, and you guys have been on fire. I know last night I saw a few winners posted on there, so that's always key. And give you guys credit for doing these videos. I mean, it's hard on the DFS side to do things, but we can still find like some plays from a sports betting perspective. Man, it's tough, but like you said, you guys have done a great job navigating through these slates. It's can be not fun at times, but very rewarding if you stay on top of it.
Yes, definitely. And I think today is one of those days. So I'm so happy to be able to talk to you guys about this card. Tyler, we only have one game tonight where it's two teams that are still in the playoffs facing each other. How do we approach tonight, Tyler?
I mean, I think we got to look at the other scenarios where certain teams can lock up seeding. Like Dallas wins, they lock up the 4 seed. Mm-hmm. Brooklyn and Atlanta are still neck and neck for the 8 and the 9. And I know it still means you're in the play-in, but one side of that play-in means you only got to win one game, and you could take a loss. The other side, one loss, and you're out. So they could be vying for position there. The Boston-Chicago game, I mean,
they both need it. They both need it because
we all know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to talking that one because you were prescient on the Bulls last night.
And then, the late game, we'll get to that after all the news we just got.
All right, well, let's jump in. And Hoop, normally we are running through a 12-game slate. So, if you want to expound on anything or just talk about some basketball in general as these teams come up, we
Hoop wasn't here for our debate last week. You got to ask him the question.
Okay, we'll start with that. Who would you rather build your team around, Devin Booker or Ja Morant?
Oh, that's hard, man. So I look at my opinion of Devin Booker, I think he's probably the closest thing we've seen to Kobe Bryant, like the way he plays. I think his game is so similar to Kobe. But man, I think Morant can get that. That is a hard one, man. Give me Morant. Which one do you guys have Morant?
I was on Morant.
Yeah,
Tyler.
I do love both though.
And Gary.
The injury part scares me. If I'm building my team around them, you know what I mean? I know Booker's going to be there for 82 if I need him, unless something crazy happens.
Do you guys agree with the Booker take though? Similar to, obviously he's not as good as Kobe, but his game I think is very the closest we've seen to Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I
mean, you say not as good, but he's not that far off either.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm a huge Kobe guy. I think Kobe's one of the best of all time. Booker, I think, man, his game is he's so smooth. You don't see anyone just that smooth in every aspect of the game. I mean, two obvious phenomenal players there. Tough to debate.
Yeah, and one thing I'll give Booker credit for, because I was thinking about this today, because of course Kings came up, and I was excited to hear this podcast, and they talked about him for 1 minute because they're so terrible and boring. And people say, oh, well, look how fast Phoenix turned it around, And I think that, De'Aaron Fox doesn't play defense, and Devin Booker didn't used to either. Now that Chris Paul's there, he's gotten so much better on the defensive end. That means so much to that team. So, I think Morant will become a better defender. I don't know if he'll ever become as good as Booker is. Let's talk about this real quick, Tyler. I do have to give you credit, right? Because I was a little bit, talk about being in your feelings. I was a little bit in my spreadsheet yesterday, right? And I didn't want to play this, right? Because I said, well, the number's just about right, this and that. And you said, no, Milwaukee will smash Chicago. You were absolutely right. It was great to win the bet. The only drawback is had problems, keep my attention as the national TV game. But we'll talk a little bit more about Chicago there, but definitely had to give you credit for that one, Tyler, and talking me into a winner.
I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I had the exact same take on the Hardwood show. Man, it's just I really think Chicago is such a fraudulent team. I mean, I don't know who they match up with in the first round. I talked about on the show, no matter if I get a decent number, I will bet the team that they're going against in the first round. They're going to get bounced.
Whoever they played, they're going to be the favorite's going to be at least minus 200.
Think so? Yeah, I'd probably still consider betting that. They're just so fraudulent. They started out really hot this year, right? Didn't they get off to that super hot start?
They were in first place at the beginning.
That's right.
on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and now they're 11 games over 500 in the 6th seed. They're going to get pounded. I mean, the East is strong, and just looking at every team in the playoffs, I mean, yeah, they're
most likely. I think they match up with Philly in the first round.
Yeah, I was about to say if the seeding stayed the same right now, they're probably Milwaukee's like minus 300 to beat them in a series.
God, yeah, it's good.
What's Philly? Because that's who they're going to play. I'll bet.
I'd say Philly's right around like minus 210, 230, somewhere in there.
I'd have
probably
to bet
still
that.
value there.
Yeah, I think
Embiid blown out his knee. How do they lose?
Yeah, they'll get crushed. They'll get crushed against any of these top teams. They're gonna get pounded.
Yeah. So we're gonna get to them a little later, but we'll start with the Mavericks and the Pistons. Mavericks minus 8.5. Bookmaker switched things up on me. Oh, you can see all the way they switched the numbers there. All right. So if you want to do alternate lines, I have them more readily available now. Thank you, Bookmaker. Total 218.5 plus 327 for the Pistons on the money line. But Tyler, we've seen it. This team will bench their guys if they're playing well, right? And it was Robert. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he sent me a message. He's like, that screws you in DFS. Right. Yeah. If you try to play any Pistons and then they get off to this great first half and you're projecting so well, and then he just benches all the starters. And why not? Because, he's all in on the rebuild, and let's get a guy right next to Cade because he deserves it here. So there's no way you can talk me into taking the Pistons on either the money line or the spread. 8.5. I think they've got the number right, but I'm willing to be talked into it, right? If Tyler wants to make another impassioned plea here, that it's going to be way more than the 8.5. But I think the real good way to approach this is the player performance doubles. Tyler, what do you have for us here?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said before when we started the show, Dallas can lock up the 4 seed with this win. This will put them 3 games ahead of Denver, or 3 games ahead of Utah, so that'll pretty much lock it up.
3 games ahead of Denver.
Well, no, Denver's the 6th seed. Utah's 5.
Oh, really? Do I need to refresh? I thought Denver was
5.
got
smacked last night, spread.
I got to start refreshing the standings page. I just leave it open.
Poor Luke.
You're right. They moved ahead. Yeah.
Poor Jokic, man. Just watching that last night, that was like just hard to. I mean, he has like nobody, but it sounds like Murray's coming back relatively soon. So it'll be.
We've been saying that since January, though. Hoop, haven't
Big
we?
T, yeah.
I think there's a better chance that Kawhi comes back than any of those Denver guys come back.
No way.
So Big T's from like the Denver area. He has some guys, I don't know if you call them connections or whatever, but his people are very adamant that Jamal Murray is coming back this week. So we'll see.
That changes everything in the West.
Yeah, Big T is. I mean, Big T doesn't stick his head out there all that often. He says like Jamal's coming back.
Well, hopefully he has some ones in the Clippers organization too, because he tweeted out Tyler's love for the Clippers. Were you excited about that, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see somebody else finally got on the train. Yeah, talked about it 2 weeks ago. Powell showed up. Paul George showed up. Now we're just waiting on the big guy.
Yep.
And the West is, man, you just look at the other teams. I mean, not to get off the rails here, but man, like
we can do that today.
Yeah, the West is weak, man. Like if the Clippers come back full strength, like if you just look at the roster, they could potentially be the best team in the West. Like I'd place those bets too. I
put them right below Phoenix. I think they're up there right now against Memphis just because of the experience factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it'll be interesting.
All right. Well, Tyler, did you find a performance double for me? Because I think that's the only way I want to get involved in this Mavericks game. Even this total of 218 seems about right. But am I in my spreadsheet again? Am I missing some value here, Tyler? How are you doing?
I would lay the 8. I mean, Dallas needs this game to lock up that 4 seed, like I was saying before. Mm-hmm. Detroit's won 3 in a row. They don't want to keep winning these games. Yeah, they might cover, but I could see Dallas's defense just locking them up because it's basically just going to be Cade and Bey out there. You run Sadiq Bey off the 3 line, it really just leaves Cade Cunningham to beat you. And I don't see that really happening here. So I'll take Dallas to win by double digits. And some of these performance double, Luka 30 plus points and win plus 140. Finney Smith 12 plus points plus 145. The Jalen Brunson 2 plus 3s that we the people's talking about in the chat and win is plus 210. And I would even go up to Luka. I'd even go up to Luka 5 plus 3s and win at plus 370. Because he's been shooting a ton of 3s.
Yeah, definitely. Hoop, interesting situation here. Of course, give us your take on the side and total. But look at Detroit, right? Corey Joseph, Marvin Bagley, Rodney Magruder, Kelly Olynyk. Now, I know they're volatile, but you got to think that opens some things up there. Or did they price it correctly from DraftKings?
DraftKings got these guys priced pretty accurately. The only glaring play in this game is obviously Luka. They're still playing for positioning. He's probably the top spend on the slate. I mean, we had a lot of the big name guys going last night, so there's not much competition in terms of the guy at the top, and it's definitely him tonight in this spot versus Pistons. I mean, the Mavericks are a team for DFS we really haven't been on all season long. They just have too many other guys that kind of mix in here. Brunson and Dinwiddie take away from each other, and then these role guys just so hit or miss in terms of production. So not really a spot that we're going to look to. And the dynamic of the DFS slate completely changed before we hopped on here with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and Ayton all being ruled out. That immediately leads us to the Suns, where we're going to probably play 3 or 4 Suns in basically every lineup on the 6-game slate. So we don't have to mess around with like the Pistons or the secondary guys on Dallas. There's just no need now because we have that value, and we'll probably end up getting more value as well along the way. So DFS wise, it's just Luka. Betting wise, like, I mean, if you want to get involved here, it's got to be the Dallas side. I just can't bet on a team that wants to lose basketball games. The Pistons have no interest in winning these basketball games. And like you talked about, like if they get too close to a lead, they're going to pull Cade and whatnot. So it's super risky for sports betting purposes. I'd have to go with the Mavs here. Don't feel strong about it, but I just can't bet on the Pistons at this point in the season.
And the Pistons, and they'll throw it in the chat today. I had to remember bringing up. I don't know what it is, but they're really good against the spread over their last 20 games, like 17-3 or something ridiculous like that. So tell me, how is everyone feeling about the Pistons? Right, that's like your local talk radio that you hear. How are the fans feeling? Because I think you got a bright future there with Cade, and a lot of these guys that we're talking about now, Durant, LeBron, KD, Curry, they're getting pretty close to aging out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be that time for these young guys. And I think you guys might have him. Is people pretty excited there about the Pistons?
Yeah, high hopes. I mean, I think, what we've seen from Cade all season long. I mean, this guy's going to be a player in the league. I mean, first year is absolutely phenomenal. So I think there are definitely some high hopes. I mean, another top draft pick this year, and then maybe some free agents. And, this team has a chance. I mean, the part that does kind of suck is how stacked the East is. And, it's kind of shifted where a few years ago it was all about the West. Yeah. The West was the best. Now the best teams and the best players are in the East. But, 3 years out, I mean, I think this team has a chance. Cade looks like the real deal.
Tyler, college really well. Let's say Detroit had the number 1 pick of all these prospects. Who would you pair Cade with? That's on the board that you think would fit best next to Cade in a Pistons uniform?
I'd probably have to take the big guy to Duke, Paulo. I think he fits best next to Cade. Like Chet's kind of like I don't want to call him like the unicorn of the draft because we're still not sure if he's going to be able to survive out there. He weighs like 20 pounds more than me, and he's like a foot and a half taller than me. So I don't know how that's going to bode for him. But Jabari Smith, I think, should be the guy that goes number 1. But I think he fits better in Houston's system than Detroit's. So I think Paulo's the guy next to Cade. He could create his own shot. Cade could also set him up in good spots if he has the opportunity to. So I think Paulo's our guy.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. And Detroit definitely got a shot.
Those two are also close to back to high school days. So he'll be pushing for Paulo to get there.
Oh, that'd be interesting if they got it back-to-back years like the Magic did with Penny Hardaway and Shaq in the 90s. But yeah, just kind of a little fun discussion on a Pistons team that's really not playing for much right now. Let's talk about, I think this is a TV game, the Brooklyn Nets -5 in New York taking on the Knicks, Madison Square Garden, total 229.5 plus 199 for the Knicks on the money line. So Tyler, I like your team here. Here's my thought. The Nets are terrible against the spread, right? That game last night against Houston, it wasn't necessarily physical, but they definitely got up and down the floor, a pretty busy game. And then if I'm the Knicks, this is pretty much the last game of the year. I know they have more on the schedule, but this is the one that we want to win, right? Let's go ahead and knock out the crosstown rivals. Let everyone get wild in front of Madison Square Garden one more time. And I also think, this idea, the Knicks don't have anything to play for. Well, they're in New York. The media has been crushing them. I think that they still want to make a statement. I don't think they want to go out with a whimper. I think we're going to see a good effort from the Knicks tonight. I don't want to take them on that money line, but I do like the +5. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, if I had to take a side, I'd probably give a slight lean to the Knicks in the +5. I would want it closer to like 8 to 10 though spread, because 17 was a lot last night. They shouldn't have been laying that to anyone. 5 is one of those numbers where if they come out and shoot well and the Knicks just kind of give up, if they're down by 20, they could just pound them into the floor. So they also hold the tiebreaker now with Atlanta. They're ahead of them. They're not just going to give up some game to the Knicks. So the Knicks are going to straight up have to win this game and take it from Brooklyn. And I don't see KD letting that happen. So his props I'm going to play, because we know how these players play in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 30+ in Brooklyn win on him at +180. 3+3s and win in Brooklyn win +200. Him to double and win +225. And you can go up to all the way up to 35+ and win at +380. So I'm going to be playing some of those. And I like Bruce Brown's points, rebounds, and assists at 20.5.
All right. Hoop, We the People says, I am crazy for choosing the Knicks. What do you think? Am I crazy?
I wouldn't call you crazy, but this might be like where I'm bad at sports betting, where like I just could never take the Knicks in this spot. Just looking at I can never take the Knicks looking at the Nets where they have Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and then I'm looking at this Knicks roster. It could be a bad take, but I could never bet the Knicks here. So not necessarily saying that I like the Nets, but I just can't take the Knicks. So not crazy, but different than my opinion, I guess, is the best way to put it. In terms of fantasy, though, the Knicks are a team that are in play here. I mean, not to the same degree they were before the Suns news, but we have some plays here. Obi Toppin in play. Emmanuel Quickly has been playing phenomenal. And then RJ Barrett. So I think there's 3 fantasy options here to consider. Quickly's been really good. I mean, 40 and then 57 fantasy points. Shouldn't be all that highly owned. Coming off the bench, but RJ Barrett is definitely an option. Toppin's an option. Then on the net side, I don't know. Kyrie, maybe Durant, maybe. I just prefer going to Luka over them. If you have lineups where you can play both, sure. But back to back here, I'm not super excited. I probably won't play much of them, to be honest. If you're building 150 teams, they're probably more in play. If you're only doing a few teams, I don't think you really need to play them here tonight. I probably prefer Trae Young over these guys as well. So fantasy-wise, the Knicks do have some plays. Like I said, we got Barrett, Toppin, and Quickly, I think, all in play.
Yeah, and that's the thing about making these picks when you take the Knicks like I do. If they lose, they're going to get smoked, right? So it'll just look like a dumb play. So I think we get that Super Bowl effort, biggest game, the remainder of the season, put it on the light out effort here. But, maybe not. But I think everyone's going to be fired up, right? The fans should be going. It should be a different atmosphere than, say, just the Pacers or, the Charlotte Hornets coming into town. So this will be fun, I hope, because if it's fun, that means it's close and it'll be worth watching. But, hey, if they get blown out, that wouldn't be the craziest thing that's happened this NBA season. Another game where you're probably going to call me crazy. Washington Wizards.
Before you get to that one, spread,
yeah.
How do you guys feel about this Ramadan narrative with Kyrie not eating and drinking throughout the day? Like, could this just be the spot where you just play KD and DFS because he's probably just going to do it all by himself in Madison Square Garden? He might just be like, Kyrie, like, I know you're not eating and drinking. Just relax. Don't kill yourself out here. I got this.
Man, I mean, it was all Kyrie last night, too. I mean, he kind of took over the game. So I think that kind of makes sense. I mean, if deciding between the two, I think for fantasy purposes, I think, yeah, probably lean Durant after that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Who do you think each guy matches up with, or do you think they switch so much it doesn't matter?
From the Knicks side?
Yeah, like the Knicks roster better.
I mean, they'll probably try Toppin on Durant, but it won't work.
That'll be terrible.
Then they'll throw Barrett on him. That won't work. And then they'll be like, Mitrov, you want a shot? And then that won't work either. So he 50-balled this team last time, spread. He might do it again.
What do you think of who would they put on Irving?
I mean, Burks.
See, so don't you think that's a better matchup for Durant as well? I think Burks has got a better chance of doing something.
You guys, Norm Powell just got rolled into this Clippers game. after being doubtful
Clippers
all day.
University.
Yeah.
Let's shake up this West, man. It's looking a little too
that would be
too
so
easy to
fun.
predict.
What's the official word on like Kyrie? Has anyone said, or on Kawhi? Has anyone said anything?
I don't
He's
think we'll
back on
know
the
until he
reports
walks
now,
in
isn't
the
he?
door. He's probably. I think he's working out, but it's like the same thing with the Zion situation. Every report that comes out from like a big company says he's not going to play, and then his stepdad comes out and says he is going to play this year. So we know how Kawhi and his uncle are. His uncle might come out and say he'll be back next week, and nothing will be reported until he shows up.
On Basketball Monster, it says projected return April 10th.
Yep.
Man, those numbers. Then I mean, honestly, just looking at it, I mean, the Clippers are 40-1. Like they could be like, if Kawhi comes back and is at 90%, they're the second best team in the West. Yep. Right, and if someone happens to knock off the Suns before the Clippers get to them, they're the best team in the West. I might fire some more on that.
The other interesting thing is like everyone's saying, "Oh, well, they should hold him out." For what? You should always bring him back in the playoffs. The guy's not going to make it more than 50 games in a row. You might as well get 16 games that matter.
Opportunity to just let him go out there and just go. Because
especially there's no clear-cut teams in the West outside of the Suns.
Exactly. This is the clearest path he's had. There's no juggernaut. So go for it, I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about those Washington Wizards. Plus 10.5 in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. 234.5 total. Highest on the board for DFS purposes. Plus 419 here for the Wizards on the money line here. Let me go back. I was checking Kawhi. Did we get this news yet that Porzingis is out? Because I'm handicapping this game is that he will sit. But I don't see anything on here for him. I see Kuzma out, Vernon Carey, whatever. Lou Williams out, whatever. John Collins, I don't even know why he's on this report. He hasn't played for like a month. Bogdan Bogdanovic and Gallinari, both questionable, which of course does change things. I don't know, Tyler. This is like another one where it's like, everyone's going to say, well, the Hawks have something to play for. The Wizards don't, but these guys are still competitive guys. We're not laying 4 or 5 like we were in that Knicks game, right? It's 10.5 now. The Hawks could cruise to an easy victory, and the Wizards still cover kind of in the same fashion that the Rockets did with the Nets last night. I like taking the points here, but Tyler, I could see you maybe being the other side.
Yeah, I mean, it's lay it or pass for me.
Okay.
Still no Kuzma. I mean, I think one of the two, Gallinari or Bogdanovic, plays. Mm-hmm. And again, the Hawks are locked neck and neck with the Nets right now. If the Nets do happen to lose to the Knicks and the Hawks win tonight, they pick up that 8 spot and they move up the spot in the play-in. So they still have something to play for. Trae Young's going to put up a big number here at guard to always kill this Washington team. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Herter. He could put up big numbers here. So I just go straight to the performance doubles. Trae Young double and wins minus 130. That's pretty bad, but it's better than laying 10 points in this matchup, I'd say.
I agree. I think Washington keep it close. What is there a point total number?
Yeah, there's 30.
So I don't have to worry about
30 plus points in Atlanta win plus 120. Or you could do 35 plus better? And win. I like the 30 plus and win.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any of those guards stopping him. I would even play. He's another one I'd play the 5 plus 3s on and win at plus 340. He chucks up a bunch of them, or you could just do the same game parlay of his 3 line. Mm-hmm. It's over 3.5 plus 130, and you could just parlay that with the money line that gets you plus 150.
All right, that's a bunch of good ways to approach this game. Because, like I said, if you're just betting it side, like the way they did it, 30 years ago when you didn't have all these exotic options, I would take the 10.5. So I like those performance doubles a lot better, and then you don't have to worry about, my scenario where they're up by 8 and they dribble the ball out, and you should have covered, but you did not. Hoop, what do you think of the Wizards and the Hawks?
Yeah, I mean, I just can't bet on this Hawks team, and I wouldn't be surprised if I can't bet on the Wizards. I'm saying okay. I wouldn't be surprised if Porzingis were ruled out as well with Kuzma. So yeah, I'm with Tyler here. It'd be the Hawks or just nothing. Fantasy wise, the Wizards were a team to consider before the Suns news, and we're going to get to that game, and we have a lot of plays there now for fantasy purposes. But with unless Porzingis is out, then these guys come back and play. Like Gafford would be a play. I think Rui would be a play. But as it stands now, the Suns guys are just better values than the Wizards guys. Hawks, I'm cool going with Trey tonight. Fair price tag 10-5. Would like him a little more if like Bogdanovich were to be ruled out. He's officially questionable. But without a ton of guys to spend up on, I think Trey's fine. I'd prefer him, I think, over Kyrie or Durant at similar price tags. They're projected to score a lot of points here. So, with their current roster, he's the main dude, obviously. So Trey's fine at 10-5. If Bogdanovich and Gallinari are ruled out, then we can come and look at guys like DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, TLC, maybe even DeLon Wright. We need that news. It's an hour after lock, so there's a chance we get it before. But, as it stands now, it's probably just going to be Trae Young here.
All right. It's like I said, we have a little extra time today, and I think this is an interesting, fun one. We know the 4 teams who are going to be in the play-in. We don't know the order and where they're going to play, but we're pretty much assured that it's going to be Cleveland, Brooklyn, Atlanta, and Charlotte. Hoop, which 2 teams do you think come out of there?
All right, pulling it up. I'll say, I'm going to go Atlanta and Brooklyn. I think Cleveland is so fraudulent. I mean, it's cool what they've done this season. I mean, awesome. Not much of a roster.
The thing about they're not necessarily fraudulent. They're just decimated. They're missing 4 of the starters they had at the beginning of the year. So
much different
team.
They
built a great team. It just didn't work out.
Even with their main dudes, I just feel like they're like a regular season team, a team that can finish decent in the regular season, get in the playoffs. They wouldn't stand much of a chance. But the injuries as well. And then the Hornets, I'm just not buying the Hornets. So to me, I'd actually be pretty shocked if it wasn't Atlanta and Brooklyn to come out here.
Interesting, because I was thinking that they actually were going to be built okay for the playoffs. The idea being when you need those stops, I did trust that defense to get them. And it really comes down to, do you think like Garland and Mobley can produce against the highest levels of defense, right? To keep pace on the offensive end and actually need, make it so where those stops are necessary. So Tyler, if you were to answer that now, and I know that you and I will definitely spend more time on it, right? But Cleveland, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Charlotte, who do you think are the 2 teams that are officially playoff teams?
I got to see who plays who, because if that flip-flops and the Nets have to go play the Hornets first, I could see the Hornets upsetting the Nets. I mean, I know it's crazy to say because we all know KD.
No, it's not. They beat them a week ago.
Yeah, but when it's the game on the line, KD's not coming off the floor, and he's going to shoot the ball every time. He's not going to defer to anybody. So they should
imagine having to run him 48 minutes though to win playing and thinking you're.
They will. I mean, they'll be forced to. With their roster, he'd play the entire game and probably shoot like 40 times or something.
Yeah, so if they play the Hornets, I'm a little worried, but it should be the Nets and the Hawks that come out of there. I don't see the Cavs winning with just how decimated they are. I mean, look what they did last night. They lost.
No, I don't think they're going to win in this current form either. I'm just curious to see. You get another year of development, another nice regular season, and I think they could end up. I like what they're doing.
But now, what happens if Jared Allen and Mobley are back on the floor by the time the playing game starts? Like, now we're in this big debacle where they could beat one of these teams with the big guys under the hoop now too. So So we'll have to see what happens in a week.
We are talking about the Cavaliers, and this is Easy Money Ty from our Discord. Easy Money says, Tyler, please take the screen time to slander Cleveland for us for costing us those parlays. Did you want to go for that, Tyler? Did you have anything you wanted to say about the Cavaliers' effort against the Magic?
I kind of just did it in that little breakdown, but I got nothing else on them.
No more slander. All right, let's see how cool he is, Ty, because I know we weren't happy about that last night. But Easy Money Ty, you can take care of the slander. I'll throw it on the screen if you want to put it in the chat. All right, anything more on the Wizards and Hawks? Are you guys ready to move on?
Ready to roll.
All right, the Boston Celtics in Chicago taking on the Bulls, +7, total 224.5. Plus 236. The only game really on the board where both teams, have playoff potential to play for. So that definitely makes it exciting. Unfortunately, I don't know how exciting the Bulls are right now, right? I mean, yesterday, I'm in the numbers and I'm saying this. Tyler says this team's going to get smashed, and he was absolutely right. And who talked about it before? They don't have the ability to get the stops. Their offense isn't really elite. Outside of DeRozan, they can't protect the rim. Their rotations are kind of junky because of the way that things have been going with the injuries and stuff. Levine might come back tonight. That would definitely help this team. I don't think it's going to be enough against the Boston Celtics team. that is, I did the numbers this morning. There's something ridiculous since the beginning of February, like 25-5 or something. Just really impressive here. Now I know that they had Robert Williams for most of those games, but still, in a game against the Bulls where you're only worried about Vukovic, who plays like a power forward or an old school small forward almost, I don't think that's a big deal. So unlike last night where I kind of thought the Bulls had a chance to keep it close, I think the Celtics run them off the floor the same way we saw last night. Hoop, do you agree?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you got one team heading in the right direction, the other team heading in the wrong direction. And with the Bulls, we talked about it in the opening. I'm just not very high on them. I think they get bounced in the first round. Celtics are one of these teams that they'll make you pay for your mistakes. I mean, they play solid defense. And you can see that. I mean, the Bulls are only projected to score like 108 points here, 109 points. I got to go with Boston. I was with Tyler last night. Like I really felt good about Milwaukee beating the hell out of the Bulls. They did. They just can't. I feel like they just can't stop the bleeding. DeMar DeRozan has had one of the best seasons of anyone this year. Probably one of the more surprising seasons. He's been phenomenal, but it's not enough. And Levine probably isn't 100%. They have the defenders to slow him down. Vucevic is, to me, somewhat fraudulent. The only guy I'm impressed with on this team is DeRozan, and Boston has a whole team. They have a lot of guys to mix in here. So give me Boston. What the spread 7? I'm cool with that. In terms of fantasy, this is probably the worst game on the slate. I mean, Boston has a lot of guys they use. They're not a fantasy-friendly team, not a team that we usually go to for fantasy players for that reason. They just have so many guys that they can mix in. When all their guys are healthy, there's just not enough to go around, so you kind of fade them. And then on the Bulls side, it's a tough matchup. I mean, the only one I could see myself playing is DeRozan, just because he just has the ability to get it done every single night, regardless of any other situation going on. So love Boston here, and the only play for DFS would probably be DeRozan.
All right. Yeah, Tyler, by doing this show with you daily, Monday through Friday, brought to you by runpuresports.com, promo code GetBets. I know, Tyler, that you wouldn't bet the Bulls with my money. If I sent you money and said bet the Bulls, you would refuse the payment. You want to let everyone know why?
Not to interrupt, but even better than Get Bets, we have that Masters 50 right now, so you can get 50% off everything, so including the bet side. So if you want to try the bets for a week, a month, whatever it may be, Masters 50 will get you 50% off for your first payment. So just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, make sure I keep using that for the rest of the week. But Tyler, let everyone know why the Bulls are not worthy of being bet with my money.
Because when they play these top teams in either conference, they always tend to get punched right in the mouth. And they're going to do it again tonight. They beat them on January 15th by 2. There was no Marcus Smart in that game. We know how much he means to this team. They also still had Schroeder on the roster. We know how much of it just clusterfuck that was in the backcourt with him, Brown, and Tatum all wanting the ball. Well, now they're rolling. Vucevic isn't going to be able to take advantage of them down low, even with Robert Williams out. Unless Chicago shoot lights out, I don't see how they keep this game close. So definitely going to side with Boston. It's looking like Caruso isn't going to play. And that's one of their key defenders. So there's another defender down for him. That bleeding Hoop talked about. The damn sure ain't going to be able to stop it without him. So give me Boston here. And some of these performance doubles. Tatum to score 32 and win plus 225. Brown to score 25 and win plus 140. Marcus Smart to hit 3+ threes in Boston, win plus 400. And Jason Tatum 5+ threes in Boston, win plus 580. So those are some spots I'd be looking at in this game.
All right. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I mean, I don't see the Bulls getting a straight up victory here. I mean, I'm with both of you guys that this team is going to be probably valued to exit the first round, no matter what they put the number at. I mean, it's going to have to get to like minus 400 where I'm thinking, okay, the value.
In the chat, Bulls 2-20 against top 8 teams in both.
Yeah, I hope they release a soft number. I mean, I'm sure they won't, but whoever they match up against, I hope, because I will be pounding. It's as soon as something comes out, I'm going to be ready to fire on the other team. There's no reason not to. I mean, they can't beat these top teams. I mean, they just can't do it. What is it? 2-20 versus the top? I mean, that's insane. So
and look at this against the top 3.
Jeez, wow, we got to fire. Give us a good number. Come on, give us a good number so we can hammer it.
And you're going to have to hit that on the opener too, because everybody's going to be on it. I can't see anybody, unless you're just a Bulls fan or a Chicago native, running to bet this team right now. So, all right, we're all in agreement that the Celtics will take care of the Bulls tonight. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they've caught a couple points since opener. Now they're only plus 15 against the Utah Jazz. This was 17.5. 217 is our total here. That's crazy for a total plus 15. Plus 1,000 for the Thunder, who got that victory last night against the Portland Trailblazers in a kind of a weird game that, I'll be honest, I didn't pay too much attention to. Maybe I'll pull that up if I'm scouting for some G League betting next year. But they got the win last night. Now they head to Utah, who, I thought I had that Memphis bet last night, and Utah pulled off the win. I was a little worried when it went to overtime, and it turned out to be true. My worries were correct, as Utah made it a push when I definitely should have covered. Tyler, I think we feel the same way about Utah as we feel about the Chicago Bulls. We cannot wait to fade this team once the playoff starts, and we think that there's going to be the Bulls might stay together. We think this Jazz team is going to get blown up in the offseason. Now they're laying 15 tonight against a team that's obviously tanking. I have no idea how to approach this one. What do you think, Tyler?
Dog or pass for me in this one spread. None of the guards are out there for Utah. Mitchell out. Forrest questionable. Conley out. So it's going to be Clarkson's show. Yeah, he could put up a big number, but I can't back him right there. So I'm going to side with OKC here. I mean, some of these young guys still want to play hard. Maladon's going to be out there. Wiggins, Poku. I'm not even going to try and butcher that other guy's name on this injury report. So give me the 15.5 points with OKC. And when they release it, Rudy Gobert's points plus rebounds. Because he should be able to see the ball without the two guards on the floor. So he should be able to score 20 points here.
All right. Hoop, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Tyler fully. It's going to be OKC or nothing here. I mean, whoever they throw out there, the Thunder, they're going to be playing hard. And a couple of these guys are on 10-day contracts, like that Xavier Simpson and Kalazakaitis or whatever, however you pronounce his name. Jalen Horde went off last night for DFS. If you wanted any money, you had to play him. He played like the entire game and went off for 62 fantasy points. The point I'm getting at is whoever they put out there is going to be playing hard, and they're going up against a Jazz team that might be a little bit thin tonight. For the Thunder, though, you have to be careful in fantasy. If you're playing these guys tonight, we need the starting lineup, because yesterday all day it looked like Poku was going to be one of the best plays on the slate. He didn't play because he's performing too well, and they want to lose basketball games. I mean, this is the tanking at its finest, and it backfired last night because these guys they brought up played pretty damn good, and they went up against another team that wants to lose in Portland. But you need to see who starts. Like Poku, Roby played last night. He played 43 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if Roby doesn't play tonight and Poku plays. The most important thing, though, here is you can only play the starters. You can't play anyone coming off the bench because there's no guarantee that these guys are going to play. So for fantasy, going to have to wait and see. This is 2 hours after lock. So don't get settled in on any OKC guys until you see the starters. You can only trust the starters at this point, and probably for the remainder of the season. On the Jazz side, we have some plays, obviously. No Conley, no Mitchell. Jordan Clarkson is probably one of the best value plays on the slate. Bogdanovich, another solid option. Rudy Gobert, another solid option. Those are three really solid fantasy options tonight. So this game is going to be very good for fantasy. We know who the guys are on the Jazz side. We don't know who the guys are on the Thunder side, but whoever starts on OKC, very much in play. Those guys played the entire game basically last night. They got a little breather. So you're going to want to load up on the Thunder, but only the starters.
All right. That sounds good. Tyler, anything more on this one?
No, I got nothing else on that game.
All right. Well, we got a little time. Hoop, I think that the Jazz are like the Bulls. Let's just fade them. Let's just parlay who the Bulls are playing with who the Jazz are playing. Maybe we'll get close to plus 100. I assume you agree with me. And if so, first round exit, they probably have to look to blow up this core.
They got to break it up.
How would you approach it? I mean, I know we always say trade Rudy and build around Donovan, but what do you get for Rudy? At least with Donovan, you'll get a haul.
I mean, it's hard to get rid of Donovan. I mean, Donovan Mitchell has got to be the guy you build around, I'd assume, but he's the one that would get the most return. So if you're saying, all right, we're just starting from fresh, it's got to be, Donovan Mitchell. But if you want a chance in the next couple of years, you got to have to hold on to Donovan. To me, it's clearly Rudy Gobert that you want to get rid of. If there's a team that has interest and you can get a nice haul for Rudy Gobert, I'd
what do you
go
think you're
ahead.
gonna get though? Like a Charlotte first?
Well,
round
no one
pick?
wants these big stiffs. Like, no one wants them. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, it's going to be Jalen Brunson and like Dorian Finney-Smith in 2 firsts, and all of a sudden the dude's going to be averaging 20 and 20.
It's very possible. I mean, but
it would be not bad again next to him. Yeah, I think you're right about Dallas.
The main point is, like, if they can't get it done this year, which I don't think they're not. You can't continue to roll this out year after year after year. It doesn't work. I mean, they've had these high seeds going into the playoffs, and they always fall short. Now they're obviously a lower seed. If they fall short this year, you just can't continue on with what you have. So it'll be interesting offseason for the Jazz, I think, because I do think they'll lose in the first round too.
Yeah, and you talked earlier about how weak the West was, right? It's not like you're in the East, right? Even with the Cavaliers, right? I'm like, okay, wait till next year. The East is stacked. It's not going to stay like this, right? Durant's getting older. Yeah. Who knows how long Embiid's going to be there, right? Jimmy Butler's getting older, right? You could see what we're building. They're dropping. There's no reason that Utah shouldn't have dominated the West this year. They should have been, if they were as good as this team was built to be, they should be right up there with Phoenix and Memphis, and they're not. So looks like they'll move on, and I think that you and I will both have a Bulls opponent, Jazz opponent, first round parlay. I think
give us some good numbers. We'll be ready to fire. Give us the numbers, and we'll fire it.
Sounds good. The Phoenix Suns are now +6 after ruling everyone out. They were -2.5 this morning. Los Angeles Clippers, laying the 6 at home, 223.5 +215. Tyler, everyone's going to talk about how all these players are out here, but you know what? I don't like doing the Clippers are automatically going to win because the Suns are sitting everybody, and I know the Suns don't have the best bench here, but the idea that the Clippers are just going to roll because these guys are out, I don't like it. To me, it's dog or pass. Right now, I'm fine passing. Do you want to talk me out of it? What are you thinking?
No, I'm not betting this game. To be honest with you, if I'm betting it, it's going to be a performance double. Okay. Maybe like a Paul George 25+ points, Clippers win. It's 4+ threes and Clippers win. I don't hate the Reggie Jackson call, but I just can't bet Reggie Jackson because every time I do, he misses every shot.
Yeah, and he's skipping around on you.
Yeah. Yep. So just the Paul George performance doubles and maybe playing his over on threes. It's over 2.5 -130. So I would even bet that up to 4+ threes at +210.
Eric Chang got Clippers +3 last night. I would definitely buy back with a +6.5. I mean, that's just a dream situation there, Eric. I would definitely do that. Hoop, how are you approaching this game?
I bet it right before he hopped on. I got the Clippers minus that 2.5. So what? Now you think just create that window and go with the Suns? You like that move?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
I think you wait. Let it keep ticking up, because I don't think, as much as I'm saying, hey, the Suns have a chance here to cover, I don't think people are running to the window. I know I'm not. I'm fine staying off this game. Yeah. I just don't think that you see the people ruled out and you look at this current number 6 and you say, oh, well, they're going to lose by 15. Not necessarily. These guys want to play in the playoffs. This is their opportunity to audition, right? Just like the Thunder guys on the 10-day contracts. This is these other guys' chance to be, hey, let me get 10 minutes in the playoffs, right? Right now, I'm going to get 0. Let me show Coach Williams that I've got a chance here. So I just don't like it at the +6. But I would wait because I think it's going to keep moving. I mean, 7.5, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. These guys, they battle. I mean, the Suns are a scary team because their bench will battle. They're legit players too. I mean, Cameron Payne is a solid basketball player. Bridges is still solid. Cam Johnson. I'd stay away obviously at this 6 number, but for fantasy, we're coming here for sure. I mean, Cameron Payne is a phenomenal play. Cam Johnson is a phenomenal play. JaVale McGee, phenomenal play. Shamet, really good play at 3.5K. So you're loading up here for fantasy. Every lineup should have probably at least 3 Phoenix Suns guys in. And then on the Clipper side, Powell's now in. Just too many guys now. I mean, there's just not enough to go around. So probably be fading the Clippers tonight. But the Suns guys are in a really good spot here without the core 3.
And I've had you talk about this before, but let's do it one more time because I think it's fun. Normally, like when I first started, I would think, okay, so I have to run it back, right? Because I'm going to load up with Suns. But you're saying I don't need to run it back tonight, huh?
No, because I mean the way to look at it, these Suns guys are in a good spot no matter what. Whether the game blows out or stays close, like they're thin, these guys are going to play. The reason you do run backs is because you want that good competitive game. The spot where I like using run backs is if you're playing an expensive guy. Let me see if there's an example like on this slate, right? If you don't have to do it, but it's tough to really find it on this slate. But if you're going to play Luka. You want Luka to get his full complement of minutes. The way he gets his full complement of minutes is if Cade Cunningham has a really good game on the Pistons side. So I look for the run backs in situations where I'm playing expensive guys. We're coming to Phoenix for cheap guys because all their studs are out. They're most likely getting there no matter what happens on the Clipper side. So it's, situational in terms of the run back, but when we have these really good value situations, when we have, a bunch of these big time guys ruled out on one team, you don't really need to worry about the run back.
All right. If you want to ask questions like that, of course, become a member, runpuresports.com, promo code MASTERS50. Tyler, it is time for the best bets. Let's start with you today. We'll give Hoop a little chance to look over the board one more time. What is your best bet for today, Tyler? Side, total, or prop?
For side, give me Boston minus that 7. They're going to smack Chicago around. They're going to beat them by double digits. And for a prop, give me Luka over 3.5 made threes at plus 130. I think he's going to hit 4 to 5 tonight.
All right. Two for the money there, Tyler. What do you think, Hoop? Best bet today, side, total, or prop?
Oh, I gotta go with the Celtics, man. I think they're going to pound Chicago. They continue just to not play well. I mean, they're getting the stat. Those numbers are crazy. What was that? 0-17 versus the top 3. I mean, that's insane. The 7 looks like an uncomfortable number, but I'm not worried about it. Boston heading in the right direction. Chicago heading in the wrong direction. Give me Boston here.
All right, and I got the crazy contrarian play of the day here, going with the New York Knicks plus 5. I know the Nets need the game, but I do think that we will see a great effort from the Knicks tonight, kind of like, the last ditch of their season. They get this win, they feel a little better about themselves, maybe slow down the media at least for a day or two. So I like the Knicks to give a spirited effort in front of their home crowd tonight. Give me the Knicks plus 5. Hoop, before Tyler gives out the home run parlay, do you want to let everyone know about all the great content we have at runpuresports.com?
Yeah, I mean, this week the big thing is obviously the Masters kicking off tomorrow. We have a couple shows already posted. The content's getting posted on the website. We'll have the showdown shows as well for round 2, 3, and 4. Baseball starts tomorrow. I know that's an exciting thing for a lot of people as well. We'll have content. I think we have a show tomorrow at 11 a.m. covering baseball.
Big
US
baseball? I forgot. You do baseball, right?
Yeah. Yep. Love baseball. Big UFC card this weekend as well. So a lot of good stuff going on at Run Pure Sports. And like I said, Masters 50. It's a new promo, 50% off any package, DFS, bets, the combo packs, anything like that. You get 50% off your first payment. So check it out.
Yeah, and I'm going to be diving in on some baseball this year. Sounds really fun. So are you doing content and cores for baseball, or do you just play it off the other coordinators?
Yeah, I'll be doing content cores. We have the cash chart that me, Mangone, and Title do. So we'll have that. We'll have cores, stacks. So I'll be doing a little bit of both, some MLB and some NBA.
All right, I'll be looking forward to catching some of your baseball breakdowns. All right, Tyler, the time has arrived. We're not bunting here. We're swinging for the fences. What do you think? Home run parlay, what do you got?
We're going to go with that Jaylen Brown 25-plus points in Boston wins as the first leg.
Okay.
Luka to score 30-plus, Dallas wins, and KD to score 30-plus, and Brooklyn wins. That gets us 15-1.
15-1. Gotta love it. All right, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Like Steven says, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're here doing this every day for you, providing our thoughts. Of course, Tyler sends more parlays and, some plays, hit the spreadsheet that you guys don't get. But for the most part, right, we're here hanging out with you every single day, talking basketball and having a lot of fun. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. And on that note, let's win some bets tonight. Run Pure.